I am Declan. I'd be 32 years old in 2 months, and I hope to be married by then. I planned to tie the knot with Vanessa, my then-girlfriend, with whom I'd been in a relationship for the past 6 years. But I guess life happens sometimes and things don't just go the way we thought. And once again, because of the actions we or others took. In this case, the action was Vanessa's. And then my reaction. I met Vanessa 6 years earlier through a childhood friend of mine, Claire. Claire and I grew up in the same neighborhood. We were friends, but we parted when my family moved, following a rather tragic incident. We met again in the university, but things had changed a bit. I was a different kind of man, detached from my past anything that reminded me of it. My view of life had changed too, as I had almost zero other things on my mind but to ruthlessly chase success. But even in my firm resolve not to be involved with the opposite gender, I couldn't help but fall helplessly in love with Claire's best friend, Vanessa. Back at the university, Vanessa was every guy's dream girl and the object of their fantasies. I loved everything about Vanessa. If she had flaws, I'm not sure I ever noticed. She was way more lively and socially energetic than I was. I've always been reserved, but Vanessa? She was a party starter, and I totally understood this part. After our first degree, she proceeded to study law and gained admission into law school, but her lifestyle remained the same. I feared for her, wondering how she would combine her social life with the demands of the profession, but she managed to emerge as one of the top dogs in her class. Needless to say, this attracted men of all caliber to her, but it's something I've been used to. Besides, she had earned my trust. She talked to me about everything and kept nothing back. A few months ago, I noticed that she had grown a bit distant from me. I attributed it to our hectic lives and our careers taking up much of our time. The first time it occurred to me, I planned a surprise dinner outing for us. I noticed she had been somehow withdrawn and hasty on calls and decided to interrupt her schedule on a Monday evening. I called earlier during the day and she said she'd be home really late. I felt pity for her. Although I didn't love to drive at night, I decided to deliver a box of pizza and a meal from her favorite fast food to her place downtown. As she'd explained, she'd be really too tired to do anything by the time she got back home. Driving up her street by past 10 p.m., I noticed a white Mercedes parked in front of her apartment. I was taken aback for a moment. I tried to process the few hundred thoughts that came into my mind, but none made sense. Who could it be? Was she in trouble? Was it a deep pocket looking for young bloods from the law school to join their law firms? I observed with skepticism as I pulled beside the car and made my way up to her door. But that was my first experience of being shocked. There was music playing inside, obviously a house party. It must have been so loud that they didn't hear the doorbell ring. I called her phone and she picked up at the third ring. She was definitely in the bathroom because it echoed and the sound of music still found its way in. But that didn't strike me as much as the first sentence she made when she picked the call. She didn't notice she'd picked the call when she said, "Sorry guys, you'll come back to it. I really need to take this call right now." There were some naughty giggles and I wondered if this was really from her house. I could barely hear what she said, but luckily the door opened and a slightly intoxicated boy accompanied by a girl who could have been his girlfriend, I don't know, walked out. They didn't seem surprised to see me standing with the stuff I had and I didn't mind. I walked right into the house party with Vanessa wearing the shortest dress I'd ever seen her in, dancing to the hard metal that pounded from the woofer system. If she was shocked to see me, she didn't express it. "Hey babe," she called, throwing her hands in the air and walking up to me like I was another invited guest. One glance at everyone in the room and you could tell they were all schoolmates. "What's going on here?" I asked as she squeezed me in a tight hug. "Come upstairs. We can't talk here," she said as she held my hand and led me up to her room. Once inside, she gave her explanation. She explained that her friends noticed that she'd been withdrawn lately and wouldn't hang out with them as usual. It happened that one of them got a big break and decided to throw a party at her apartment just to ensure she was a part of it. I partly believed her because her withdrawal was the reason why I was there. But quite a few things stood out. The atmosphere when I stepped in. I'm not sure a lot of people knew that she was my girlfriend, and I thought I saw a puzzled look on the face of the guy who she'd walked away from to meet me. But I didn't take it to heart. Had I been more curious, perhaps I would have saved myself the next few weeks of being neatly cheated on. Since I wasn't planning on running into a party, I had to leave so she could have time to be with her friends. When I got back downstairs, the guy I saw earlier was not there, and quite coincidentally, the Mercedes outside was gone too. As I drove home, I knew there was more. There had to be more. The weekend crawled lazily, and finally Sunday was here. Vanessa had gone off on a trip with her girls. I picked up my phone and headed to her Facebook profile to see if she had posted pictures of their trip. But she didn't, so I started scrolling aimlessly through her old photos. I noticed there was someone who liked all the pictures she posted, whether they were 50 plus at a time or a single random picture. He never commented. She never mentioned him. Something like a secret top fan of some sort. I wasn't suspicious of anything. Just plain curiosity and a little bit of boredom, I hit up his profile and started scrolling through. He was faceless but seemed to have a lot of friends. As I idly scrolled through his pictures, I noticed he had a white Mercedes and it was involved in a hit and run. A drunk driver had probably run into it where it was parked on the street. As if I was smacked with a thought, something felt very familiar about the picture. I quickly rushed back to it. I was right, but I was dumbstruck. I zoomed in to convince myself otherwise, but I only confirmed my fears. The street where the car was parked was the same as where my girlfriend lived, and when I zoomed in more, it was right in front of her house. My stomach sank. I knew where this was going, and I didn't like it. It was the same car and the same guy from the party. I kept telling myself, this is not enough evidence to prove Vanessa is cheating, but that was vain talk. Instinctively, I checked the date of the picture and noticed it was quite recent. I tried not to believe what I was thinking, but there was only one way to find out. If I intended to propose to her the next weekend on my birthday, then I needed to know what I was getting into. So I sent him a message. I'll call him Robert from now on. "Hi," I said. "Hello, who are you?" came Robert's reply. "I'm Declan, Vanessa's boyfriend." "You mean ex-boyfriend? Because she's been my girlfriend for a year now." "Actually, no. I'm her boyfriend and to-be fiancé probably by this time next week," I said. At least that was the plan, until now. We went back and forth for a while, and what we both realized was that we were both dating the same woman for the past year with no knowledge of the other man. We talked some more over the phone and realized what fools we've been. In the end, we both came to the conclusion that the bitch shouldn't walk away from this without consequences. She needs to learn her lesson so that she isn't going to do something so scummy to another human being. So here's what happened next. I proposed to her that we hold my birthday party the next week at the same lounge where I first asked her out. She was overjoyed because I dropped subtle hints that there might be more happening at the event than just a birthday celebration. More as in me putting a ring on her finger. The only thing I felt at the time like putting on her was a noose around her neck, but whatever. I got to invite her friends, sister, some cousin, my friends, etc. On the day of, she came dressed to the nines. She looked like she was gonna explode with happiness, and throughout the first part of the night, she and her friends were all giggly, clearly waiting for that proposal. Drinks flowed and so did laughter until I clinked my wine glass to get everyone's attention. Stepping up, I thanked everyone for making it to the party, explaining that most of them here, especially her friends, knew how Vanessa and I had dated and were the most romantic couple to walk the face of the earth. Then I held her hand and gazed into her eyes. And I said that I've loved her for the past 6 years and considered her the most important person in my life. So I'd like to take this moment to reunite her with her lover whom she obviously preferred over me, considering she had chosen him while she was still in a relationship with me. And if she truly valued me, she would not have done so. I saw the confusion, shock, and panic pass over her face in quick succession, and the crowd had gone silent. Then Robert appeared like we had planned. The look on her face when she saw Robert was priceless. Some of her friends looked guilty as hell, so I'm guessing they knew about her two-timing as well. Anyway, I asked Robert if he would like to have Vanessa now that I'm done with her, but he said no thanks. He doesn't want someone's leftovers. By this time, she had started crying and her friends had rushed forward to console her while murdering me with their eyes. So between me and Robert, we roasted her some more and basically let everyone know that she had been shagging two guys at the same time for over a year without a shred of shame or remorse. The party quickly broke up and her sister came forward and tried to slap me, which Robert expertly deflected. Turned out she had been live streaming the event to her parents and some aunts as soon as I started my speech, thinking it was a proposal. But this shit show happened instead, and now her sister's mad that I ruined Vanessa's reputation to her family. I told her tough shit. She ruined it herself. Also, one of her aunts has a really big mouth. I bet everyone who's anybody to Vanessa would have heard the news before the following morning. Anyways, Vanessa kept messaging and calling me hysterically for weeks to come. I'd answer the phone, put it on speaker, and would leave it somewhere and go about my business. The only silver lining in the whole ordeal is that I found a kindred spirit in Robert. We've begun to hang out and have some bro fun. One time Vanessa called while Robert and I were hanging out. I did the usual, answering, putting it on speaker, and leaving it on the counter. We then spent a quiet but fun afternoon sipping beer and listening to her loud wails. Fun times.